like to talk about their past because it takes them to a certain place of maybe even bad memories or bad taste in their mouth. But I share my story with you to extend the hope that God has given to me through Jesus Christ, through redemption, and as my kinsman redeemer, and as my healer and my helper. So if he could do it for me, he could do it for you. So without further ado, come on in, have a seat, and let's talk. Let me get a little sip of water because it's about to go down. So something that I'm not very, very proud of is I was a praise dancer. I'm proud of that. I was a praise dancer for, I think, like 12 years. I was the oldest, so I was a leader, and I had a lot of responsibility as people were just not just looking at me as a praise dancer minister, but also the girls that were in the group. And my dance teacher put a lot of pressure on me to just be a good leader. And, you know, how it goes, you get older, you go through hormones, you like boys, and, you know, you take the passion purity classes and things like that, and life then tempts you. Things change. But fast forward after that, I got caught up in survival mode after having children, and I needed to make more money than I was making. So I started working at a bar, and I started off as a waitress. So, you know, we can start with something small that doesn't seem bad. It can seem harmless, and it was a topless bar. And I started as a waitress, and I was like, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, it's just extra money. It's cash, every night. So, I'm not the one on stage taking my clothes off and things like that. But the thing is, temptation and the devil knows your motive. If you're willing to compromise to go to a place like that in the nightlife to make money, there's no telling how far you will go to make that money if your mentality has shifted to survival mode, right? So I was serving as a waitress, and all the customers were like, you know, why don't you dance? Like, I'd be willing to pay you money. Like, I will, you know, and the dancers saw like how much I was making, and I was like looking at them like I can get my money and that type of money. So, long story short, I fell into temptation to make more money, to even be a dancer on stage. I did end up telling my dad, but it was all like an agreement that I had to do what I had to do to take care of my kids and survive. I didn't have help for my children financially outside of my dad, so I had to do what I had to do. Now, with that, I had to eventually start drinking more because my conscious mind, my spirit just knew it wasn't right. There was something not right about what I was deciding to do to take my, you know, pull out for money. Like, this is morally not right. So the more I drank, meant I had to keep drinking more, and my tolerance kept getting higher. And I was also working outside of that. So I was working my day job, I was working at night, I was a mother, and I was doing all these things. And to be able to walk in there and still do what I had to do, I had to be drunk. And eventually, alcohol stopped being enough. And one of the girls had offered me a pill called Molly. And I never done drugs before. I looked down on drugs because of my past. If you know or don't know, that's the story for another day. I was born with drugs in my system, so I just always kind of felt like I shouldn't try it because I don't know what happened to me. But long story short, I took this Molly, I broke it in half. I said, I'm going to try half of it tonight. And I tried half of it, and it was like, you know, a good night. It was a good experience. And so the next day, I was like, well, I'll take the second half of the pill. But the thing about that second time, taking the other half of the pill, it had an adverse effect. Like, alcohol was a headache. The drug wasn't doing what it was supposed to do. I had some customer, like, proposition me for, like, more than, you know, a dance or something. And I just remember feeling so disgusted and like why is everything going wrong this night? And it was my turn to get on the stage, and I will never forget this, y'all. I will never forget this. I was next on stage, and I just didn't understand why the album wasn't working or the pill wasn't working because the night before the pill was working. I got on that right before I got on the stage, right before they called me. It's like Holy Spirit came, God came, and I had an out of body experience. And no, it wasn't the drugs because it was like him and I were ascended, looking down on myself while I was sitting there, like almost like I'm sitting here now, drinking my drink. And God was like, "This is not what I called you to do." And when I tell you, I felt disgusted. I felt so naked, like Adam and Eve. Like, I'm embarrassed. My father just called me naked. I ran out of that club so fast, crying, sobbing, boo-hooing. I didn't say bye to the dancers. I didn't say bye to the security guard because they usually walk you out. I didn't pay nobody out. I grabbed my things, ran out the door, drove home crying because God had saw me in a very compromising situation, and I was embarrassed and never looked back again until maybe 11 years later. But that's a story for another day. But I share all that to say, God met me in the club that night. Sometimes God is not always meeting you in the church house. Sometimes He's meeting you where you are. Just like the woman at the well. She thought she was going alone at the hottest point of the day when nobody would approach her, when nobody would bother her. But there she stood, and Jesus met her to redeem her, to give her freedom, to call her out of her own mindset, to take the drink of the living water so she will never have to thirst again. God, ooh, chills. God can meet you where you are today. You just have to open up and be open to allowing Him to come into the ugly parts, to the secret parts that you hide from everybody else, that He will come in and clean those areas and just offer you freedom and love. No matter what you've done or what you've been through, He will love you and bring you out of it. You just have to call Him today.